I have been your presenter.
Forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and
welcome brothers, welcome sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any issue trending. We fear no topic. We express our opinion on any matter. We always have to remember that opinions are not necessarily facts. They are people's opinion that is pregnant with prejudice and the information that you have at the time. So if I have new information, I change in my opinion. It is not cast in stone. The number to call is 442-0175, and we always welcome those who are with us on social media. It's a platform now that we did not have in yesteryear, but I think users of social media are extremely happy that technology has provided us with this opportunity to strengthen our democratic process. So you can give me a call. This morning, while I await your call, I must ask this pertinent question. I overheard that the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dick Mitchell, decides that he's going to pay the teachers for the days they did not work. And this has aroused my interest, because I'm asking on what grounds. You see, Dick Mitchell has called for greater production, greater productivity within the country. And it is a correct call, because I believe we need to produce more. We need to be more productive. We need to be more efficient. So on one hand, you call for greater productivity and you decide to pay the teachers, some of the teachers, for the days they did not work. What is your justification? What is your rationale? Are you rewarding the union for what seems to be the apparent support of your political party? Did you make a deal with them? Is it a payoff to buy the loyalty and the support during your 5-year period? You see, Dick, you may not know, but it seems or it appears that the unions are very strong and aggressive with some political parties, and with others, they mild like milk. So let me give you an instance. One of the strongest trade union leaders that passed in Grenada was Eric Matugiri. The British government sent down 2 battleships in Grenada to quell some of the struggles of people asking for more pay. It was also during Gary's period that the age of voting was dropped. But during that period, the unions was not very supportive of that union leader. You remember in 1974, the unions was part of the Committee of 22. They was loud and clear against Grenada getting independence. Although during that time the government built 28 schools in 13 and a half years, the Land for the Landless program, independence from Grenada, St. George's University, technical education, pre-primary education, and even double salary in one occasion. The union was not supportive of that political party. Again, so it appears to me that the union seems not very supportive of political parties or governments that have a natural inclination to be very sensitive to the needs of the less fortunate, of the people in the lower socio-economic strata. I see the quiet attitude and the low punches thrown by the union against the Imani program. I believe that is one of the best programs that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years to address the challenge of young people being competitive on the job market. I thought that was a program union would gradually support, but it was not so. I saw the quiet attitude of the trade union when attempts was made to amend the Constitution. I believe the trade union should be in the forefront of the charge to amend the Constitution. They was extremely laid back, quiet, and practically against changing the Constitution. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, scholar.
The teachers union, that is the Bartholomew fella, I heard him on the news, he say that they go remove the work to rule because they pay them for the dock salary. So I didn't realize all the time was the dock salary they was doing that for. I thought 44%, but no, I hear he say they go remove the work to rule now. So as you say that it had to be something, so why how you favor that now? So I tell you that you think, as I said already, productivity, you mentioned, I say I support productivity. I like to see people produce. I like to work. I work to lose. So I like productivity. But when you pay people to work, that's a double standard because you pay people and you know they don't work. And you still saying they was illegally taking from them or something. So that was not illegally. Because if they could have taken that to court and win it. So I don't know. I feel like politics, man. I feel you're playing politics to win favor, man. There we go. Anybody who know, anybody a hard-working person never like a thing as that a person work on the game pay. All islands might like a thing, but hard-working people support that. Take care, Mr. Pierre. Have a nice day.
Yes, scholar, I think this is so significant because the reasons, what is the reason, what is the justification the union gave for the rest and reflection? They say it was not a strike. It was not that they argued they was sick, or they was so traumatized in their workplace, or they was stressed out. None of these issues, or the workplace became a health hazard. It was a wildcat action for what? For rest and reflection. I look at the arrogant attitude and the blatant manner in which the union flaunt work and productivity and decided I am not going to work. I'm going to stay home, I'm going to reflect, and then I'm going to demand my pay. The union used the numerical strength to demand pay. And I applaud the government then, because it's not easy for government to dare to challenge strong unions. But the government did. So what deal did Dick Mitchell strike with the union? This paying them for days they did not work. Was it rewarding them for the support they got in the election? That can't be right. Was it a question of blackmail? Did the government make a deal with the unions so that during the next 5 years, the union would not be aggressive and be as quiet as usual? Why? How could Deaton appeal to the public to increase productivity while rewarding a group of people for not working? I saw the attitude of people against debauchers, imani, road traffickers. I think that's the word you use for them. I saw the attitude against them. These people come from the lower socioeconomic strata. Because of COVID-19, over 2,000 people lost their job in the tourist industry. And St. George's University grind to a halt. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, it was a kind of political move because I heard a teacher said, I voting for my money, I want back my money, I voting for my money. So I heard a teacher make that statement. I was wondering what's going on. She said, I'm voting for my money. I said, what money? The pension? She said, no. Money that was deducted from me, I'm voting to get it back.
But they didn't work for the money. That's dishonesty.
Yeah.
And it must not be condoned.
I'm also glad to hear people say that the present government meets a lot of money in the treasury. You know, long time in the past you're hearing about fellas saying in Gary days, oh, they clean out all the money before they go, they know they're going to lose. And you're not hearing that the strip. So I think it's a good thing. There is money there, the government can complain. I don't know if you know about it.
I normally don't bother with these statements when people win election and make these statements. I don't bother with it, you know. Hey. I know they're just making statements. That is not necessarily true. Yeah?
Yes, so it's politics.
Yes, scholar. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, I think it is the union committed a cardinal sin. I consider it as an abomination with a walk to rule program. I have never heard unions meet together. The best intellectual minds in the country are our educators, our teachers. The best intellectual minds in the country. Now, when these minds sit down and discuss ways to harm children, we're in a dangerous stage. The actions taken by the union was not to harm the government, was to harm children. They sat down and planned. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. You remember I told you before that different strokes for different folks. According to who you is, you get more licks. And according to who you is, you get less licks. And it happened from school days go up, you know. Certain children, according to what they do, they give them a benching, others get it in their hand. So we are accustomed with those things. Mr. Chester Humphrey told us openly that he was told by Mr. Tillman Thomas to support the party, and he said that he made an arrangement with him that if he supported the party, he had to support his union, make conditions good for his union. So that what you see there is nothing strange. Different strokes for different folks. According to who you is, you get lash in your hand. According to who you is, you get it on your bottom. That is the rule. Right? I love union. But I said to you some time ago, unions can be very dangerous. But I love unions. They do help workers at times, but they can be very dangerous. So be careful with that.
Yes.
What I really want to talk about is that it appears that the composition of the new cabinet is not fully explained yet, because we see, for instance, you have Mr. Andrew, who is the Minister of Agriculture, but you have Mr. Posweda, who is representing agriculture in the government too. So it's most likely Mr. Posweda is a junior minister in the Ministry of Agriculture. So he's under the supervision of Mr. Andrew. And I think we need to get a little bit more explanation on the compositions of the of the cabinet. It's a little bit thing. And again, when the prime minister is out, would it be automatical that you have a acting prime minister, or the prime minister will schedule different persons? I am of the opinion that he may schedule different persons. And people getting it wrong still with the political leader, the leader and the political leader is and the deputy political leader. Now the deputy political leader and the political leader have nothing to do with the cabinet per se. That is in the party. So the person who is deputy political leader doesn't mean that he automatically or he would be the deputy prime minister, right? So while Mr. Persuader didn't contest any election, he is in the cabinet now, but he have nothing to do with that. Have nothing to do with the union, with the party per se. He is in the government.
Color, the Constitution does not recognize political party.
That's right.
The Constitution recognizes the man who could command the majority.
Right.
And these things is neither here nor there. It's just question of strategies and etc. Because it's not something that coded in the Constitution or in the law. And the people could always move away from conventions. So it's neither here nor there.
Right.
When the Prime Minister go in, he could choose who you want as deputy political leader, and he could do what he wants.
Right.
The Constitution don't recognize political party. It doesn't recognize the constitution of a political party.
Right.
It only recognizes who commands the majority, and the Prime Minister is first among equal.
Right. And I'm glad you say that to that extent, because I'm saying that some people seem to be getting it wrong.
Well, it's going to take a long time before a lot of people get it right. Up to today, the Prime Minister himself did not get it right on the question of paying people for the days they did not work. This is high-ranking dishonesty, particularly when you are paying. They have a saying, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
The teachers use the numerical strength. They use the numerical strength to work out a deal with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister should explain that to the public. These people did not work. It is highway dishonesty to insist, to force, to lobby, and to blackmail a government to pay you for the days you did not work. The Prime Minister owes justification and rationale why you did that.
Well,
you cannot be calling for productivity when you're paying people for not working.
I'm glad you realized.
And these things are much more important, because you see, our journalists is principally tied to political parties. So you don't expect the NDC journalists to say nothing.
Right.
And the NNP journalists may be on a hiatus. They prepare to give the Prime Minister his honeymoon.
Right.
So these things come in, but it is clearly wrong.
I'm glad you are realizing that, and then you are making it clear to the nation, because there is a next one where the Prime Minister said that free education, and people interpret it differently again.
Nothing is wrong with free education. You heard this term in the revolution, free education.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're supposed to get used to political statements. The government say free education, but later on you may have fees for games and fees for lab. So why are you not paying school fees, but you're paying fees for games and fees for lab?
Right.
There was a time when some teachers was angry because they wanted to charge children per chairs.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember shot. So
I
the government could always
remember
make that claim. And the government have money, yes, they could do that. Nothing is wrong with that.
Yes, but it must be clear, because when the word was said on the air, people get it to believe that you don't have to pay for anything again.
If the government say you don't have to pay, then you don't have to pay. Later on, the principal might tell you have to pay. You could check with the government. The government may say, what we talk about wasn't that. You have to pay for the yard. We are accustomed with these issues.
But I'm just telling you, it's causing a little bit of conflict already.
It shouldn't cause
But
conflict.
one of the ministers gave us an explanation. The Minister of Education gave an explanation. And he said that certain things they would not deny the schools charging for certain things. That is what I understand. So it's a little bit conflicting already.
Yes, scholar, thank you.
You're right.
You see, there are some fundamental principles in the world. The right to work is sacrosanct. You could withhold your labor. Nobody can force you to work. So you could withhold your labor. But when the best minds in our country sit down and plan ways to be dishonest, it cannot be right. It cannot be right. The teachers, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, I want to give us some information concerning shelters for St. George Northwest. In Nagma shelters, we have the Harfield Secondary School, the Uganda Martyrs RC School, we have the Fontenay Community Center, you have the Mount Morris Community Center, we have the SDA Church, and we have the Anglican Church in Mount Morris. So we have 6 shelters for St. John Northwest, Nagma shelters. Okay.
All right, thank you, caller.
So, you're speaking about the thing with the union. I know when a union when a union call the workers on strike, the union is supposed to have a camp fund, a strike fund.
Caller. If the union could force government to pay them when they strike, they don't have to have no funds. If the union could make a deal with the Prime Minister and get him to pay them when they refuse to work for 9 days, they don't have to have no fund.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, that's setting a bad trend because
it could only set a bad trend if we accept it. How many voices you hear against it?
That is the thing, right? Nobody speaking about it.
What the union do there is dishonest to not work and insist that you must be paid.
Insist they work. So see, if they get through with that, you know what will happen? They go continue doing it. Because they were saying, you just make a start. Once you make a start in doing something, they go continue doing it. Right? So I believe a man should work for his money. You don't work, you should get paid. And the government at this time did not owe the teachers because they work. They work for the days they work for, they get paid for it. So the government did not owe them. And then going and pay them now from what they deserve. Like Prime Minister speaking of productivity. Right?
That's why I'm asking. I believe the Prime Minister seems to be advocating the Freedom of Information Act. So he should tell us what deal is struck with the union.
Exactly.
Is he buying the silence for the next 5 years? Because it seems to me, or it appears, that the unions tend to be more aggressive when they have political parties that is very sensitive to the needs of the people in the lower economic strata.
Yeah, it's true.
I observed that over the years, and I pointed out during Eric Gary days, irrespective of Gary himself was a trade union leader, the other union leaders was not supportive. I saw the aggressiveness and the attitude of the unions to programs in Grenada that was targeting the poorer people. In fact, they call it handout. So what is it they got now for not working for 9 days? This is the most blatant and glaring handout I see, or rewards for voter payoff.
Yeah, you vote for me, I will pay off. That's a deal for side. Right? So you see, when you spoil your children, and do you think they will stop? They will continue doing it. Next thing they might work for 15 or 20 days.
Caller, it is being done in the society. We are not paying attention. 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirements. You have graduation, a number of children are not being graduated because of personal vendetta.
Exactly.
This incident state, Grenada, make the Olympic. We're supposed to be proud, but our teachers decide to boycott sports. And for what justification?
No sports. They boycott sports and everything.
So I think these are some of the issues that are going to lead to violence in this country
That is,
more and more.
yeah, okay.
Yes, thank you. I think these are some of the issues that help to undermine the social fabric in society. Because some children already will be asking, were you taught by a work to rule teacher? And even if the unions make this statement now, do you think teachers will go back and genuinely help the children? Do you think they will go back and genuinely help the children? Look around and see which schools have groups. I think the PBC have a very powerful group in the school, a choir. But what happened to the other secondary schools and primary schools? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good morning to you, Mr. Pierre.
Go right
Mr.
ahead.
Pierre, oh God, I felt so happy that you brought this to the forefront because this thing's been weighing on my stomach for so long. Why the teachers and them, they rewarded the teachers for not even attending class, and the children were shut out from the classroom. Mr. Pierre, as the good book says, for by the works thou shalt be justified, and by the words thou shalt be condemned. So I condemn what they did a long time ago. I wasn't happy with that, but Mr. Pierre, I'm so glad you will be continuing with this program. I just pray to God you always will be continue to bring up matters like this to educate people like us in the nation, because a lot of things is going on and it is wrong in my book, and I'm glad you bring it to the forefront. So you have a wonderful day and continue with the good work. Continue educating us. Thank you, Mr. P. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Yes, caller. One of the biggest challenges we have in Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean islands is low productivity in our schools. Now, a lot of people not speaking about it because some of the people from the higher echelons of society, doctors, lawyers, senior public officers, teachers, some of their children doing very well. So there is no need for them to bother. But in my own research, 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirement. I will readily apologize if the government or the teachers or the union or the politician or the NDC or the NNP, anybody in Grenada prove me wrong. I will readily come and apologize. If it's 69.9%, I'll apologize because I'm wrong. I know that my research is not very scientific. I gather my information to have the courage of my conviction to speak. But how could 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirements? I saw a number of Grenadians going down in town, jumping up for Emanuela and Auntie. And I asked some women, where are your Emanuelas? Where are your aunties? Even when people come and volunteer to help some schools and give them musical instrument, the instrument is in the school rattling. Some schools have table tennis board, it pack up in a corner rattling. And the trade union leaders come together and plan to go to school and don't speak to children. I call this thing an abomination. This was on the realm of diabolic. You don't play around with the innocence of the innocents. These actions was not targeting government, it was targeting children. And we're wondering why so much of our young people are getting themselves in trouble. The situation in Grenada is not very different from Jamaica and Trinidad. In fact, they might be worse than Grenada. But these are things we could change here. Some of the people, they understand that and they're providing the necessary backup for the children. But the majority of Grenadians, Coco Jenna Pie, as the kids go to school, they are profiled from the time they're 5 years old. The dye is scarce. They could say that can make it. They use more palatable words nowadays. But once you speak into them on a regular basis, you're going to pick it up. That can make it. Look at the attitude. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, caller, welcome.
How we do? Good evening, man.
Great, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm missing you. I don't know what dial you're on that I could really get you because the dial I used to get you on, I don't know. You're not getting it.
91.9.
Huh?
This one is 91.9.
91.9.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And you
Good.
on Monday to Friday. Yeah.
And what else? You have another one?
Boss FM.
I ain't getting you on Boss FM.
Okay. 91.9.
And I used to get
And
you on
91.5.
No.
Yeah.
Right. So 91.9.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'll go tune in.
All right.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You see, we sometimes blame our politicians. And I've said on many occasions, I have a very soft heart for politicians. I think politicians are the most genuine and committed and conscientious profession in this country. But we blame them. Our schools are better equipped than any other time in our history. Our teachers are better paid and better trained than any other time in our history. The teacher to children ratio is better than a lot of countries in the world, including United States and America. More than 20% of our teachers drive themselves to school. But the problem is mentality and attitude. Too many Grenadians believe that if they have qualification, it puts them in a social class. So they are not prepared to have many people in that social class. So they're very selective in their treatment. They are not treating the children in the school fairly. And that is why they're so comfortable to have just a few percent. The trade union, while in parliament, in their presentation was saying that government should provide housing for those who they send in tertiary education. But when government provide housing for the people in the lower economic grouping, they say it's handout. Well, how could it be handout? When you send an individual in university and spend $80,000 to $200,000 on him to train, and the trade union believe you should give him house when he come back. But the people in the lower economic grouping who catching the ninning, you shouldn't help them. They call it handout. The National Democratic Congress, on many occasions in my discussion with them, they consider the government giving out too much handout. Then how do you classify what you give the teachers for not working? The teacher says rest and reflection. They didn't say that they're tired, you know. They didn't say, well, the job is stressful, we need a break. They didn't say we strike. They decide to stay home for rest and reflection. And they sit down and plan to go into school and not to speak to children. So, you know, on one of my programs, I encourage some people to test it. Go home and don't speak to your children. One man told me he had a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, the time go coming very soon, not long again. When you hear this is the money done in the treasury. The government and the workers of this country, the monthly servant and them go wait until 1 week, 2 weeks after the month up to get paid. Just now. Take what I tell you.
Caller, that may not happen. Now, ability to pay is relative. Government could always pay. It depends on who you pay. Remember, Mr. Blaze retrenched workers and cut social program. George Brizan did not retrench public officers or officers that under the Public Service Commission. George Brizan retrenched the workers in the estate and Maribor. The workers that was represented by Dairy Union, GMMIWU. The union was in its weakest state. So they never bother with these people. Some of them never get a cent. They send them home. They didn't have a voice. No one in Grenada then was speaking on their behalf. So George Brizan retrenched them. You could always cut social program. So ability to pay is relative. Government don't have to falter on monthly payments. These are the workers that could strike. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Oh, sorry. These are the workers that could strike. So when your government is sloppy, or if government decide to spend money, yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
And good afternoon to you listening and viewing audience on Facebook. Mr. Pierre, did you listen to or look at the GBN news last night?
No, I didn't. Never get chance to them.
So in the headline, they talk about Grand Lake, Mr. Pierre. You know that 63 million US dollars was paid to WRB Enterprise, yeah? Mr. Pierre?
Yeah.
For the purchase of shares of Grand Lake. Mr. Pierre, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell said that it is a question that the board of directors will be changing, Mr. Pierre, and a thorough analysis will be conducted. He also states that government should not be the majority shareholder. He states also that they should find a strategic partner, a strategic shareholder, Mr. Pierre, in conjunction with the Grenadian shareholder. This was his words. But Mr. Pierre, what baffled me, what surprised me, was when the former MP said it is strange how such a serious issue unfolded so soon after the general election. That was his word. And I quote, such a serious issue that was not even mentioned in the campaign or put in the manifesto. That is a strange one indeed.
You should not be surprised, Chief.
Mr. Pierre, what's so strange about that?
You should not be surprised.
But what's so strange?
It's all a question of policies of government. And if the government decide to sell the state asset, the people gave the government the authority. Remember, we sold the telephone company. And when it looked like it was a laughing stock, we fight to go back and get it back. We sold the electricity company already. We sold the bank.
Yeah.
We sold GBN. We sold 13 pieces of property.
Mr. Pierre, what's so strange about that? Could you tell me?
Well, I'm telling you, it is not strange to me. It all depends on the policy of the individuals who are there. There are some individuals that will sell now also.
So what was the reason you think, Mr. Pierre, for the selling of Grand Lake?
We sell Grand Lake because we wanted liquidity. We wanted money in our pockets to spend. So we sold the collateral. If you have that every day, people inherit land. They sell it and buy a car.
Mr. Pierre, but I also heard the same former MP saying that government cannot manage entities. So why go and purchase Grand Lake when you know government have problems?
I fully support purchasing electricity company. And I do not support selling the electricity company to foreigners. Grenada must keep the electricity company. That is my view. But I don't waste time articulating because I know it never happen. They want to sell it.
You know, government always have a problem in management.
Because who is the government? Us. And if we don't have, that is what happened to Africa. We didn't fight. That is why the slavery come about.
Yeah.
We give it up.
Right. So, Mr. Pierre, to focus on the points I'm talking about here, Mr. Pierre, do you think it's right for the NEC to purchase Grand Lake back?
I'm in full support of the repurchaser electricity company.
So NEC should go ahead and purchase back Grand Lake.
Well, NEC don't have to purchase it back. Government have it already.
No, I mean WRB, sorry, should purchase it back.
Well, maybe that is the reason they didn't come. You remember what Toba said in Parliament?
Mm-hmm.
You forget?
He said that.
Right, so maybe that's the reason he came.
God forbidden.
And he said he'll only make 2 terms, so perhaps during that period.
Mr. Pierre, the board of directors.
But government could always fire the directors.
They should change the directors?
When you choose a government, you give the prime minister the power to do these things. We select the prime minister. We give him the power to do it. And we vex when they do it.
Right.
Because that is why you want to know if the government you have going to seek the interests of the people in the lower socio-economic strata. This is why you want to know if the government you have going to seek your interests or if they're seeking the interests of foreigners. This is why you have to know that.
Mr. Pierre, but you know we never knew where the money came from to purchase the 63 million US.
But now you could know. Now that you have a new government there, they could provide that information from you.
So why there was lacking information on that?
Well, you didn't believe what the government tell you.
What they said? I missed it.
You did not believe. You see, you can't say you don't know. You don't believe.
No, I didn't get what.
You did not believe the answer the government gave you.
What they said?
Well, I can't tell you right now.
Okay.
It's going to take a while.
Have a nice day.
Yes, my brother.
God bless.
You see, our forefathers wanted to control the factors of production. So they had the land and they had labor. But they didn't have initiative. They wasn't educated. They didn't know about business. So they sent the brightest sons and daughters to university to get information, to get initiative, to understand how things work, to be managers. But what did the sons and daughters do? When they had education, they believed they're in a different social class from their parents. You have some children that just come out secondary school and they practically disown their parents already. You have children that go to university, get tertiary education, and they would not identify with the village. Go in Chicolo, one dentist they have, every day they're talking about her. She won't even come back in the village because she's a dentist, she's in St. George's, she bright, and she don't want to come back. She's sister of our children in Chicolo. She don't identify with them. Look at the groups in your community and see how much doctors, lawyers, teachers, senior public officers, or senior police that in the group. They would not join the group. They may go in Rotary or Lands because they have a bigger social status there. But they wouldn't go in Paul's community group. So this is why it's so difficult for this country to move. And we seem to be against any government who puts serious attention for the people who are involved in the lower socioeconomic strata. Let me give you an example. You have the Imani program in Grenada. The politician blast the program. The unions, most successful people, they criticize that program so much, even the Imanis themselves don't want to tell you that they are Imani. And those who got the opportunity to turn managers and doctors and university graduates, they would not come back and try to pump up the program. So we continue to have a number of people in the community. It is difficult for them to rise. And I constantly say to people, you're not wise. Because the children that went to school and did not succeed, they're going to make children with your daughters and your son. And they are the ones that are going to break up your gate with a gun. And they won't have no compassion for you. It is happening in Trinidad and Jamaica already. We are a small country. When the government decide to pay the teachers could decide to flaunt work, don't work, and demand pay. But the Prime Minister still have the gumption to claim that he's asking for increased productivity. But we know these things. We know these things. We have had the Bar Association. They want to command respect in the country. Tell me one thing you know they do for charity in Grenada in the last maybe 70, 80 years. I don't know anything that they do. But don't believe Grenada is different from St. Lucia or Jamaica. So some of our brightest sons and daughters, they have abandoned the struggle because they believe education makes them in a social class. So they're no longer in our class. So this is one of the challenges we have. We could change the dynamics on the block very, very quickly. Within 5 to 10 years, Grenada could be changed significantly. Remember, all the infrastructure is there. There is no reason why Grenadians cannot succeed. We would not come together to invest. So you have some family members, each of them must get $20,000, $25,000 in the bank. But they would not be able to buy a business for $50,000 or $100,000. We don't have the issue where parents come in and provide venture capital for their own children. They wait until they're dead to have a coffin big like Hilton Hotel rather than provide venture capital for the children. Look at all the businesses in St. Andrews. All the businesses you know in St. Andrews or any parish in Grenada. And look and see how many children that are involved in the business. Irrespective of the fact that they have a briefcase or certificate. Instead of that, they prefer to swallow the dictionary and speak in English more than the Queen. Rather than trying to be productive, coming together, investing, and helping the community develop. Go back and watch all the local musicians you know. That was very good. Find out if the children could play music. But when Emanuela and Auntie come in Grenada, sell out crowd. Prior to COVID-19, almost every month, we had a successful regional or international show in Grenada. Almost every month, sellout crowd. But the same Grenadians would not even spend $5 to help their child to learn music. And schools have musical instruments decaying in the school, and they have no interest. And every time you hear one child get 25, one get 13, one get 14. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, I really don't have money on my phone, so I will be quick. Do you think that we should maintain the Governor General in Grenada?
This is a matter for the Prime Minister. If you want to change the Governor General, you have to go to you have to have, what you call it, you must have a referendum. To have a referendum, you have to have 2/3 of the people in Parliament. The government now don't have 2/3. So it's a waste of time to try to change anything in the Constitution. In addition to that, you have to have 2/3 of the people voting. And even when the government won 15 seats on 3 occasions, They did not get 2/3 of the people voting. And in Grenada, the opposition and the government don't work together. You already see that battle lines are drawn. The opposition leader, Dr. Kit Mitchell, congratulated the Prime Minister and suggest and talk about working together, even if it is just cosmetic. I noted the unnecessary but significant comment. The Prime Minister said he did not initiate the contact. Why was it necessary for him to say that? But it's extremely significant. You see, so once the political parties start up in this uncooperative manner, then don't expect no buy-in. So the constitution would not be changed. Maurice Bishop refused to change it. He said Grenadians like the Queen. The trade union is against it. The Bar Association is against it. The Evangelical is against it. And the NDC did not support it. So now that we hear Barbados turn a republic, Barbados never had to go through that. If they had to, they would have stuck with it too. So we stuck with the Queen till they keep us at the chores away. And nothing is wrong with that. Eric Williams says if it's good for the British, it's also good for us. So it makes no sense people mama-guying themselves. I'm not surprised that the government decided to sell back electricity company. Sometimes they sell it to the same company again. You see, it's whose interest you seek. I look at our brother on the my program. I fully support the present government and will not support selling Greenland. It is a wrong, bad start. Well, you could say what you want, but if the government decides to sell it, they're going to sell it. You see, this is one of the challenge you have. When you have new political individuals who don't have in touch with the struggles of the people. They never know about some of the struggles. They never even use a toilet outside. They never know about Quran cutting off and using torch to study, or going in the street light to study. They never know these things. And they are not part of the political struggle. This is some of the repercussions of that. So I'm not surprised this is happening. I wouldn't lose sleep over it. One of the challenges we have in this country, our people have to change their mindset, have confidence in ourselves, and believe we could do it. Look at Africa. They're about to sell it again for China and Russia and India, etc. They just want a slave master. They just want somebody over them. And it's the same thing happening in the Caribbean. We are not prepared to work together. There are examples. Electricity company make money. After we sold the NCB bank, I think it was for about 12 million. The next year, the bank make about 2-point-something million. Find out where they send the manager of the bank. The manager that was there, they never kept him in Grenada, you know. They sent him out of the country. You don't want him nearby at all. So it's not that Grenadians cannot manage. We don't have confidence in ourselves. This is the big issue. You have to have confidence in your people. You have to believe in them. I see sister from Facebook saying it's wrong if the new government sell Greenlake. It's very wrong. They have no right to interfere with Greenlake. It's wrong, it's wrong. Well, you gave them the power to sell it. You know, this individual came from, normally the lawyers that we have involved in politics are criminal lawyers. People cry on the shoulder. So they have little sympathy for people. They bring up some case, they are very emotionally involved. But when you have a corporate lawyer, it might be a whole different matter. It might be a question of profit and loss and money at the point in time. The NDC government, let us go back and look at the governments that normally sell government property. And then you would realize this is the policy people want. Maybe knowingly or unknowingly. These are some of the things that people want, and it basically would happen. But I believe that we can make a big difference in our country. Grenada is well poised for takeoff. We run down our health system. We criticize it. The health system is much better than we are giving it credit for. Grenada is much better than we are giving credit for. In comparison with other Caribbean countries, Grenada stands tall. We have a caller on the line, and caller, welcome, and you might be the last caller.
Again. Well, at least I get you on 91.5.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm pleased to get you, so I know where I will find you now, because Boss FM, days I was getting you, and I ain't getting you much on them again.
All right.
I'm glad to hear you and whatnot, but you know, I beg to differ with you on sometimes with your points, right? You might have your points, you might have your points.
Nothing is wrong. I like people differing with me too.
I beg to differ. Here one point I beg to differ. You see the Constitution? That Constitution was never really enacted in our Parliament. And there is a clear part in that Constitution that gives the mandate, the power, that the people should actually think of it and go and change it and redo it and whatnot, etc. And at this time, as we have an opposition, this could be the best time for us to sit down and talk about it and change the Constitution. That's what we need to do. Politicians need to be held accountable for their shortcomings. And let me quickly just talk about the Ministry of Health and the Health.
You gotta call me next tomorrow.
Hold on.
Give me a call tomorrow. We out of time. All
right, tomorrow, please God bless.
Yes,
right.
caller, we out of time, and we want to thank all those who participate in our program. We basically provoke discussion. We do not. We definitely believe that the Prime Minister should have some explanation. What is his justification? What is his rationale? Did he make a deal with the teachers? Is it blackmail? Is it a means to get the union silent, and so that during the next 5 years he would not have support? Who he plans to sell the electricity company for? Is it the same company or another company? Did he make a deal with them before? This question must be asked. Did he come to politics with that objective, just to get this company back in the hand of the people who were there, or one of their friends? And we want to thank you for being with us. And we continue on this program. We speak about anything. Thank you.
Victory drum. Our ethnicities, the bonds that unite us, are stronger than these. We dine, we pray, we love, we dance and we play. We relate to each other, the rest in your way. Today as a people united as one, determined and steadfast we stand. We look to a brand new horizon.